Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another live episode of Tunesday Tuesday with your host, me, Boston Chris. Thank you guys so much for being here for episode number 16 of Tunesday Tuesday. And our special guest this week is singer-songwriter Sul Ross, who is here to talk about his brand new single, which is going to be on the Texas charts, or is already, called The Weatherman. And super excited to chat with Sul. We're also going to be featuring a lot of amazing artists and songs here on the show this week, including Picos and the Rooftops, which is Sul's pick for Song of the Week. We have Gracie York, Mac Hankins, Callista Clark, Brandon Ryder, Anna Graves, Rudolph Corv, Shayna Sands, Travis Meadows, Karen Oliver, Bradford Loomis, Jess T, Mike Ryan, and Presley Hale. Songs coming from all of those great artists. We're also going to tribute two amazing musicians that passed away this week. That includes Tommy Hunt of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame band The Flamingos, and Rick Buckler, who just passed away today, I believe, who was the drummer, I believe, of The Jam. So we're going to be playing songs from both of those bands tonight as well. Super excited to get into my chat with Sul here very shortly. Let's see if I can't smoothly transition over to my conversation with him. Sul Ross, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. How about you?
You're just getting home from work, aren't you?
Somewhat.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
we were chatting and he was in his truck and now he's grubbing out. So
Yeah. No, I got off work and then we had some band practice, and then I was trying to hustle home, but here it's getting all icy and the roads are getting slick, so I was trying
where
not to
are
hustle too
you?
fast. In the Central Texas area, so like 30 minutes south of Waco.
Okay, I didn't realize it was that bad on the roads down there. That's scary.
Well, it's supposed to be tonight and like the next 2 days. And then
Yeah,
it's going to be like Sunday, it's going to jump back up into the 70s. So,
yeah, I saw that. I saw next week was going to be like 78 or something like that. And I know tonight's supposed to be in the teens, right?
yeah, it's supposed to be rough.
Yeah. So there's probably no bread anywhere in the state of Texas to be had right now.
Or yeah, or toilet paper or anything else.
Nothing. Everything's gone, bro. It's all gone. So we got Sul Ross on the show for the first time. This was set up with Jim Nash, my buddy Jim, and super excited to meet you, man.
Excited to meet you too.
So the new single is called Weatherman, and we're going to talk about that very very shortly. I love the song, but you got your start in the music stuff around 2010. Is that right?
Yeah, I did. Fresh out of high school, never really played in front of anybody. I was always the guy at the parties that everybody handed a guitar to and was like, "Here, play this song," and I had no clue what that song was, but I would just figure it out, and so I was always that person, and then it just kind of grew from there. Um, and then I quit playing in 2015. So it was a weird deal. I went up, was playing, got it going, opened up for Cody Johnson at the Melly Ranch in Waco, and then I quit right after that
What?
show.
Why?
Well, I thought I had life figured out, when you're young and dumb and you think you have life figured out. And so I quit and moved to Corpus, and then ended up coming back, and then kind of dabbled in it again and quit again. And anyway, now I'm a lot more stable,
Well,
married,
at
two
least it wasn't
kids.
like you opened for Cody Johnson and then you were like, wow, I'll never reach that plateau, so I'm just gonna quit right now. Cody could do that
Yeah,
to you, you
yeah.
know.
Oh, yeah. No, God, he was such a nice guy. He's probably one of the nicest musicians I've met.
Yeah, and super underrated writer too. Like he's a great artist, but people don't realize how good of a songwriter he is. Just ridiculous
They really
stuff.
don't.
Yeah, and so you're writing your own stuff too, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I write all my own stuff.
So what's that
I might have a
process like for
buddy.
you?
Do what?
What's that process like for you? Just sitting down and writing a song? Do you co-write a lot, or is it just a solo thing? Or
Um, yeah, I have like 4 songs total maybe that I've written with a buddy.
mm-hmm.
Um, I don't really co-write with other artists much. I don't know. I just never have. A lot of my music, I try to write from a experience standpoint. So most of the songs I've probably experienced in some form or way.
So it's personal
Um,
perspective, essentially.
a lot of the time, yes, not
Yeah.
always. Like I have, a couple that are probably just they have no like internal meaning to me, but they just came out.
Yeah.
So,
Do you feel like it's easier to deliver a song that has a personal meaning to you?
oh, for sure, because I mean, you're feeling every aspect of it. You're feeling, um, it's a lot easier to come up with the descriptive language, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Um, but there's just so much emotion tied into it. Um, like this last one I finished up was for my son, and that one came very easy to me. But obviously, that's my child, so
Of course. Yeah.
that's probably why. But I mean, then you have the heartbreak songs that I've written before, and those all come from a personal experience somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Um, maybe not the whole story, but parts of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And sometimes, yeah, sometimes you just have to. You can't use mortar the whole time. Sometimes you have to use a little bit of glue, right?
That's right.
Yeah. I don't know where that came from, but that's a good description of it. I know exactly what you're
Hey,
talking
that's
about.
perfect.
Yeah. Do you feel like as a songwriter you're walking around like with radar dishes on your ears? You know what I mean? Like picking up conversation and trying to listen for hooks and stuff in real life?
Not really. I think it's more of like if it happens, it happens. So like there'll be times that I'll be riding around in the tractor doing something, and then all of a sudden I'm like, boom, thinking about just a random thought, and there it
Mm-hmm.
is. I'm like, well, that I can make a song out of that, and that's usually how it starts. Or I'll sit down and fiddle around with my guitar and not really have any plans to do anything or practice. It's just I just feel like messing around, and sometimes things come
Mm-hmm.
out that way. So
Yeah.
I don't think I purposely look for things. No,
So as a songwriter, are you able to order up songs, or is it more like spontaneity for you, or is it a mixture of both?
mixture of both. Um, I probably lean more towards like, well, I don't know. I guess it's a fair mixture of both. I guess that would be best way to describe it.
Yeah, because like if you're, I've talked to a lot of songwriters on publishing deals and stuff like that, and with for them it's a job. It's they're ordering up songs. Like they have to write from this time to this time every day or whatever it
Oh
is.
yeah,
You know what I mean? But like a lot of the best hit songs you've ever heard were written at lunchtime when they were on break. You know, it was more spontaneity or spontaneous for them. You know, it's funny how that works. Like what I call like the cubicle songwriting. You know what I mean? Where it's an actual
yes.
job. It's gonna be tough. I love this question for Texas artists because every Texas country artist, even though it's Texas country, has different formulas, different ingredients into their sound. So, like for you specifically, obviously you're a Texas country artist, you're a country music singer as well, but you probably have these other vibes mixed in, whether it's blues or jazz or rock or whatever it is. How would you self-describe your mixture?
It's definitely has like that '90s rock
Mm-hmm.
influence. That's when I grew up. Was listening to '90s country, '90s rock, just '90s music in general. So I think that plays a large factor in what my music is today.
Yeah. And there's a place for that. There's a lot of '90s influences in Texas country today. Like that Nashville sound and from the '90s was amazing. Like Garth and Mark Wills and all the girls Reba and Pantillis and all those folks. Man, I grew up the same era, so I know what you mean.
Oh, so you get it then?
Yeah, I completely understand it. Like a lot of my guests on my podcast are from that era, like songwriters and stuff. Like we just had Becky Hobbs on the show who wrote Angels Among Us, and like that's a huge deal for
Oh
me.
yeah.
Like that was a huge song for Alabama. So like to be able to chat with the songwriter of that, like a lot of my guests are coming from that era because I love that music as well. Um,
Oh
so
yeah.
when you're in the studio putting your songs to essentially to record, what's that process like for you? How vocal are you in that process?
Well, I probably do it different than a lot of people for that are on my level, I guess. But and maybe I don't. Maybe I just think that I have a studio that I use in Georgia,
Okay.
so I kind of compose a little acoustic thing by myself, singing, and I do it on my phone, and just like the recorder on my phone, and I send it to them, and then they kind of map it out, on their end acoustically, and then they track it, and then they send it to me. I put vocals over it, I send it back, they mix and master it for me, and we're done.
Hmm.
Um, but I mean, they keep me very involved. They send me samples of things, and hey, do you like this? Is this what you were thinking for the solo, or
Mm-hmm.
what do you think about the brushes on this verse here for the drum? Things like that. But that's mainly how I do it, just because it's
Mm-hmm.
easier for me, and it's a lot more. What's the word? Well, in lamest terms, it's cheaper than it is to
I was
record
gonna
here in
say,
Texas.
there's probably a financial aspect to it, or it's either financial or convenience, right? One of the two, or a combination of both, for sure.
Yeah, it's both. I mean, it's probably like a third of the price of what
Mm-hmm.
Texas is.
People
So,
don't realize how expensive it is to get music to their ears. Like if they knew, they would probably consume it a little differently. I think, for sure.
I think so too.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I agree. So that, yeah, I love that. So how'd you find the whole Georgia thing? Was that through the internet?
It's actually through a buddy of mine that does Christian music.
Okay.
So he did Christian music, came over to the Texas countryside for a while, and then went back to doing Christian music. But he uses them,
Okay.
and we're from the same town. We went to the same high school. We grew up in the same place. So we live in a small town where everybody knows each other.
Yeah. Well,
So
the songs are
that's
great,
that's
man.
kind of how we sound it.
Yeah,
So
yeah. The songs are great. They're very well done. So, if you're getting that for the third of the price, well done there. I like that a lot. Um, so let's get into the songs. Soul's pick of the week, which I love this. We started doing this a few months ago. Well, I mean, the show just started a few months ago, but I had a few episodes out before I decided to do this. I'm always that kid on Christmas morning when it comes to new music, right? So I love to hear what the artists themselves are listening to, because then I get great music to listen to as well. So this is very, very selfish of me. But Soul's pick for the week is a song called, let me make sure I got it, Last Night's Lashes. And this is from Picos and the Rooftops. So why'd you pick this song, man?
well, I don't know. I was just there were so many good ones to pick from. Of course, it's like, well, how do I pick just one?
Yep.
But this is the one I've been listening to the most. But I'm a big Pegasus and the Rooftops fan. Like, I envy that deep sound he's got. He's kind of got that Josh Turner thing
Mm-hmm.
to him.
Yep.
But then
Very
he threw
bassy.
it over the Texas. Yeah, and then he
Yeah.
threw it over the Texas country music. So it's pretty sweet. So, but this is one of the songs that has been sticking with me this week. I don't really know why, but it's a good jam.
Yeah. Awesome. So we're going to play that after your song, which we're going to talk about right now. The current single is called Weatherman or Weatherman. And so take us into the room as you're making this song, as you're creating it.
Oh my gosh, this song was it took a while. So I probably had the idea for, I don't know, 3 to 5 years. Like, just had this idea in my back pocket. I had sat down and tried to write it multiple times. I couldn't. It was like writer's block every time I did, tried to work on that song. Um, and then finally I sat down and I was like, I'm gonna do this right now. And I just kind of put my mind to it, and I got through it a little bit, and then I bounced it off some buddies, see what they thought, and then brought it back home, and then I ended up finishing it like 3 months later, where I finally was somewhat happy with it, and then sent it off to Georgia and did that whole process. But it's been sitting around for a while,
Here's a question
but
for you,
now
as an artist, and I know you play live as well. When you write a new song like this, how often do you experiment the song on a live crowd before you decide to take it to the studio?
sometimes I don't do that at all. And then sometimes like I will like some of the small acoustic things that I play that I like to play because they're very intimate with the crowd. I can talk to people like um I will throw this, I'll be like, this is one I've never played live. It's new, blah blah blah, and I'll see how people react to it. Most of the time if somebody really enjoys it, you'll see them kind of bobbing along to it, even if they don't know it, or they'll get up and dance to it, things like that. And that's kind of, I don't really have like a set way I do it. It's 50-50. Sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't.
Yeah. I know it can be risky to do that too in this modern age where everybody has a camera in their pocket too, right? So, like
Yeah.
you don't exactly want a hit song out there before it's ready to be consumed by people and paid for by people. I get it, but at the same time, like if it doesn't work live, it probably isn't going to work in any format. So, you know, I get both
Yeah,
sides of it.
for sure.
Well, so
Yeah.
I appreciate you being on the show, man. Where can people follow along with everything you got going on, and tell us what you have in store for 2025?
So all the social media handles from TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube channel, it's all at SULROSSTX. So Sul Ross, Texas.
Okay.
Um, and that'll take you everywhere. The website is soulrossofficial.com. And that has links to everything as well, like Spotify and show dates, things like that. But 2025, we're looking. I actually have. Just got back an instrumental for the new single that the first single I'm going to release for 2025. So there's also a sneak peek of it that I posted today at 5 p.m. on my Facebook.
So you guys go check
So
that out.
yeah, you can go check it out.
Yeah, you guys wait till after the show though. Right? Stay here,
Yes, after the
listen
show.
to all the music, and then go check out his webpage. We'll make sure there's a link in the description for the YouTube for the website for future, because this will go out on YouTube after we're done being live. So for you folks that are out there watching this on YouTube, there'll be a link in the description. Make sure you're following along with everything Soul's got going on. And guys, keep requesting his music. The current single is Weatherman. So request that everywhere, and then when his new single comes out, request that as well. You have an open invite, man. Whenever you want to come back on and talk music, you're welcome back.
Oh, I'd love that. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Of course, man. You have a good rest of your night.
Yes, sir. You too.
All right, bye-bye. We're excited. New music. This is the first time I've ever met Sul Ross on the show. Jim Nash, thank you so much with I think it's golly, he's changed the name of his group. I think it's Heartland Music Group. You know what? I am going to go look that up real quick just so we have it. I'm pretty sure it's called Heartland Music Group, perhaps. But I want to make sure I get this right for y'all. Heart of Texas Music Group from Jim Nash. Sorry about that, Jim, buddy. It used to be Nash Music Group, but now it's Heart of Texas Music Group. He's got an incredible array of artists, including Sul Ross. Next week's guest, the Calamity Janes, who are friends of mine I've known for years. They're also with Heart of Texas Music Group. And if you're watching this on YouTube in the future and you're only seeing the interview portion of this, because this goes out in two different formats, interview only and then full recap of the entire show. If you only get the full interview and that's the video you're watching, the link to the recap will be in the description below if you want to hear all the music as well. So make sure you're following along with that. It's soulrossofficial.com. That's in the description as well. And at SulRossTX everywhere. SULROSSTX. All over the social medias. So make sure you're following along with everything he has going on. And without any further ado, guys, we are going to get into the music. This is the current single by Sul Ross. This is called Weather.